Greetings peeps, Space Eskimo here, and today we're going to be having a look at the history of the 3D Mario series and talking about what recent games could mean for the future. That's a wordy script. So I recently bought Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury for the Nintendo Switch and I love it. And it got me thinking about what this game is and what the implications of its existence are for the future of 3D Mario. First of all, what is Bowser's Fury? Bowser's Fury takes the engine of Super Mario 3D World and makes an entirely different game with it. Mario's moveset and base gameplay are the same as in Super Mario 3D World, but there are lots of changes to make it seem drastically different. Like the full 360 camera, which is only present in Super Mario Odyssey and Sunshine, as the other 3D Mario games have an incremental camera. The other most notable thing is the fully open world where every shine is present, which is a first for 3D Mario, as even the most open games are still sectioned into levels the player must travel to by various means. While there is a method of transportation in this game, Plessy, you're still able to walk, or swim rather, to every level without encountering a single loading screen. Bowser Jr. is also the only other playable character, which is also a first in a mainline 3D Mario. He functions a lot like the Luma in Super Mario Galaxy 2. The final major new thing is the gimmick that the game is based around, Fury Bowser. If it starts to rain, Bowser will awaken and shoot spikes, creating new platforms that you can use while trying to avoid his barrage of Fury blasts, the only thing that can break Fury blocks. If you have enough shines to awaken the Giga Bell, you can use it to grow to an enormous size and fight Bowser. Or if you collect a shine while he's awake, it'll take away some of his health and he'll retreat. While it may be a short game with only 100 shines, that's only 20 short of the 120 found in Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, not including the Grandmaster Galaxy or replaying the game as Luigi because they're still the same 120 stars. It might be difficult to justify selling it as a whole game for full price, but the fact it's bundled in with Super Mario 3D World, which, in my opinion, is worth most of the price alone, makes it a great deal and it's definitely worth picking up.
Mario!
3D Mario started with Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64, releasing as a launch title for the console in 1996 in Japan with great success. It is still an incredibly popular game to this day, with very active modding and speedrunning communities. The game was very different to previous Mario games, with a wide range of new moves to traverse the new large open levels, with an emphasis on exploration rather than just getting to the end. All previous Mario games to this point had been about reaching the goal, and that was it. Whereas Super Mario 64 had multiple objectives within a level, but fewer levels to explore. This was likely due to 3D gaming being very new at the time, with Mario 64 being regarded as one of the first to get it right. The fewer levels allowed as much time as possible to make sure each functioned properly, and the multiple objectives, taking the form of stars, made up for the lack of levels. The moveset gave the player much more options for manoeuvring in a 3D space, as again, it was very new. Moves like the long jump and triple jump allow the player to gain distance and extra height, respectively, making jumps easier with a dive that could save a miscalculation, and an attack so you didn't have to rely on landing on the enemy's head, which was now more difficult to do. The other big change was the power-up system. In all previous games, power-ups like the Fire Flower made the levels easier and gave you an extra hit point. If you took damage, you'd lose the power-up. If you took damage again, you would shrink in size, and if you took damage while small, you would lose a life and have to restart the level from either the beginning or a checkpoint. In Super Mario 64, there are new power-ups and a new damage system. Your size would never change, instead you had a health meter, and the power-ups would be a way of accessing new areas, with the Vanish Cap allowing you to walk through grates, the Metal Cap making you sink in water, and the Wing Cap allowing you to fly. All were on a timer and were linked to specific challenges. Unlike the 2D power-ups, which were helpful, but never necessary to get to the goal. The life meter also doubled as an air meter when underwater. In previous games, you could stay submerged for an unlimited amount of time. you died at any point, you would be booted back to Peach's castle, which acted like the access point to all the levels. The next game in the 3D series was Super Mario Sunshine, which built on all these ideas. Taking place entirely on the Isle Delfino, giving a sense of a truly connected world, as each level was a different area of the island. But due to limitations, you're forced to warp there from Delfino Plaza, as the GameCube can only load so much at once. On the power-up front, there was no longer a time limit, and instead of caps or traditional power-ups, you were given Flood, the water jetpack with interchangeable nozzles. The hover nozzle for correcting your jumps and extra distance, the rocket nozzle for absurd height, and the turbo nozzle for extreme speed and the ability to run over water. Since there is no timer, you can only have one of the nozzles detached at once, so you can't access all the areas in the game, as some require the use of specific nozzle. The implementation did make the power-ups feel like a more natural part of Mario's moveset, since you have the Flood at all times with the hover nozzle attached as standard. The long jump was removed, and the spin jump was added to help Flood meld with the existing moves. Skipping ahead to the next 3D Mario games, the Galaxy games, we see quite a drastic change to the formula for various reasons, so I'll focus on the important ones. There are a lot more levels than the previous two 3D games, and some are still large with multiple objectives, but there are now one-off levels with only one objective. Most of these are gimmick levels, which show off some aspects of the game, or the Wii Remote's infamous motion controls. However, even the larger levels are more linear, with only one hidden secret star to explore for, in some cases even limiting the accessible portions of the level. While this is not new, as Super Mario 64 didn't allow all the stars at once, as some were dependent on bosses which were only present for their specific star. In Super Mario Galaxy, only one, maybe two stars would be available at once. Every galaxy had a comet star, which was just completing the level under the conditions, such as a strict time limit. The power-ups are brand new and very diverse, but they are limited to specific levels, where they are used for platforming challenges and cannot leave the level with the power-up, same as the previous two games. The Wii was also home to the second in the revived 2D Mario series, the New Super Mario Bros. Series, which now acted more like a 3D game with multiple objectives in a level, the optional collectible star coins, with some requiring specific power-ups like in the 3D games, but the hit points and ability to keep the power-ups beyond the level stay the same. While they did still play on a 2D plane, they were designed like the old school levels. They had 3D models and even some of the 3D moves, the triple jump, wall jump and ground pound. With the 2D games taking on more characteristics of 3D Mario, and the more linear nature of the Galaxy games, with some section of Galaxy 2 not to 2D, there was a slow merging of the two styles, bringing us to the next games. Super Mario 3D Land and 3D World. These games played almost exactly like a 2D Mario in a 3D space, going back to the old hit point and power-up systems. With 3 optional collectibles in 3D Land being the star coins from the new series, and 3D World having green stars similar to Galaxy 2. And like the stars in Galaxy 2, a certain amount were needed to progress and access specific levels. But the main goal in both games was to get to the flagpole. Both have 8 worlds full of levels and a similar looking world map, also seen in Galaxy 2. So, what did we learn from this? Well, in the beginning, 3D Mario was very different, almost by necessity. But with the Galaxy games and the return of 2D Mario, they started to take on aspects of each other, until we get to 3D Land and 3D World, which are almost completely merged. But why? One idea is the success of each game. 64 sold pretty well with 11 million copies, but Sunshine sold a record low for the series with only 6 million copies. Galaxy sold the best of all the 3D Marios with 12 million copies, but Galaxy 2 only sold 7 million. And with the return of 2D Mario, Nintendo was reinforced with the idea that the same formula always sells, as the first two games in the New Super series sold over 30 million copies, making them the second and third best-selling Mario games ever. Even though they got very repetitive, all the games in the New Super Mario Bros. Series sold well, except for New Super Mario Brothers U. But that game was on the Wii U, which only sold 30 million units, while Super Mario 3D World only sold 5.48 million copies. It sold more than New Super Mario Bros. U, which is the first time a 3D Mario outsold a 2D Mario on the same console. This leads us to the conclusion that since 2D Mario usually sells better than 3D Mario should be more like 2D Mario. But with the Wii U failing and Nintendo backed into a corner, they revealed the Switch, with Super Mario Odyssey selling 20 million copies, making it the most successful 3D Mario ever, and the fifth best-selling Mario game of all time. Odyssey returns to the roots of 3D Mario with non-traditional power-ups and an absolutely massive moveset and small amounts of levels crammed full of moons. With interest in 2D Mario dwindling as it became repetitive and stale, as well as the introduction of Super Mario Maker, now was better than ever to go back to the open world style. But why not just work on Odyssey 2? Well, the other theory is that the 3D Land style of Mario was always where the series was supposed to end up, as we've discussed. Super Mario 64 had to be the way it was, because of the rise of 3D gaming. To link this to our first idea about sales numbers, there was only one 2D Mario game to ever sell less than a 3D one before Super Mario Bros. U on the doomed Wii U. And that was Super Mario Brothers 2 on the NES, which wasn't even really a Mario game, as it was just a reskin of a game called Doki Doki Panic. And like I said before, until the Wii U, the original Mario formula is what sold. That's what Mario was. There's one other factor to consider. Since the Wii U had failed and the Switch was successful, it would make sense that Nintendo would want to port all the big Wii U games to the Switch. Not only to give those games a second life, but to make sure all the development and care that went into them doesn't go to waste. That, combined with the success of Odyssey, would lead to a new idea to boost the success of 3D World. Make it more like Odyssey. This leads us to the latest combination of 2D and 3D Mario. A game that plays like a 2D Mario, with the same power-up system and tight 2D level design, but put in the large open world with lots to discover. If you ask me, that sounds like the perfect combination. And not only do we now have that, but the gimmick of Bowser awakening and retreating is definitely a cool one. I don't know if it will return, but it's certainly an interesting mechanic, which I hope will allow Mario to further evolve. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I put quite a lot of effort into this video, especially compared to some of my other content. So it would really mean a lot to me if you could like or share this video. And if you're new around here, why not subscribe and leave in the comments if there are any other games you'd like me to tackle. Or any other suggestions for any kind of content. I'm starting to try some new things. At the minute I decide what I do by randomizer, so some interaction and some suggestions that people actually want to see would be very much appreciated. Anyway, thanks again very much for watching, and I'll see you peeps in the next video.